Ladies and gentlebots and brawlers of all ages, today we have the Unicron Trilogy, Optimus Prime versus the Drago. So without further ado, let us begin, and I'm excited to bring you guys this matchup today. So first things first, we're gonna talk about Drago. Now, again, long time ago, made a video, and it was my first time scaling the Bakugan cosmology. However, with Drago, it's actually a lot more simpler now that I've done some digging and I've actually got into research to the games. So, first things first, Drago will be in his fusion form, and Optimus Prime will be from the end of the series, of the Transformers Cybertron series, excuse me. So, with that being said here, Drago would scale above the Ancient Six. The Ancient Six are beings that exist beyond Destroyer. Keep in mind, Destroyer is a collection of universes, or formerly a collection of universes, that even embody the very concepts of various elements, including the concepts of light and darkness. Drago, when he took in the Infinity Core, was able to not only merge these elemental universes and remake them into, well, basically his own vision of a Bakugan universe, and he became its core. Basically, Drago created his own dimension far beyond the humans' dimension as well. And keep in mind, these Bakugan are very, very powerful here. With Bakugan like Drago, obviously scaling above things like Code Eve and the Infinity Core. With the Infinity Core being the first level of infinite power. And again, Drago is able to withstand that and withhold that, with Naga being able to merge not only all these Bakugan universes, but the human universe, which would again put him at multiversal for a base here. However, Drago would gain more and more and more power that is just absolutely ridiculous. Dude keeps going just above and beyond when it comes to these infinite layers and these levels of power and stuff here. And this will also put him again above the sacred orb, which is able to create an endless dimension that was able to contain Drago and Darek's power. Now, here's the thing. Drago and Darek's power are in the creation levels of tiers here. What makes this important is that originally both Dragonoid or Genesis Dragonoid and Darknoid were so powerful, right, that their powers created the original Bakugan multiverse. Yeah, it has a pretty much a multiverse with countless dimensions and stuff like that, where basically it seems to be endless. So they created infinite universes with various concepts. And Drago, by the end of the series, right, was able to basically get stronger than this. It's honestly ridiculous just how powerful Drago is here, and even the attacks he does. Now, while Drago is a Pyrus Bakugan, meaning he does have pyrokinesis here, Drago actually has a lot of abilities such as transmutation, molecular manipulation, even regeneration, as he was able to regenerate from, well, his soul. Yeah, I know it gets pretty crazy with Drago here. Obviously, he would be faster than light as he's well beyond the whatchamacallit, the Chaos Bakugans, which are easily faster than light. And again, a Bakugan can casually fly around and fight in space here. There's also a level of dimensional scaling and various amounts of void scaling in the Bakugan cosmology here, with the fact that Drago should be able to destroy the Doom Dimension, which is an endless void that even contains the time stream, which again can send anyone to any point in time. Like, it doesn't matter when it is, doesn't matter where it is, but they can go through and basically go around through that time stream at any point. And Drago, by the end of the series, again, should be able to destroy this. Even being able to destroy a dimension itself here when battling against Alpha Hydronoid. Again, someone who would scale to the Infinity Core, if not, should be relative to most of, if not stronger, than the Ancient Six. And again, the Ancient Six Bakugan are basically Sky Fathers. They're basically like those Odin or Zeus or Dark Side tiers. That's how powerful they are. They're capable of, again, they should be able to combat Naga in all honesty. But again, they were also capable of battling against the Nonins back in ancient times and were a part of the original Bakugans that were able to seal them. With the Nonins, again, being able to go toe-to-toe with Fusion Dragonoid, which is actually pretty interesting. Again, Bakugan is very weird with its scaling. Its cosmology is kind of all over the place with, and I do think the Nonets kind of mess it up because it's like, wait a minute, if you guys fought Genesis Dragonoid and the Ancient Six, then why were the Ancient Six so weak in the first season, and how did they get beaten the first time around? You know, it just doesn't make too much sense here. But again, Drago could easily get into those outerversal levels, considering he scales above various concepts in various voids. Now, panning over to Unicron Trilogy Optimus Prime. This Optimus would honestly be one of the strongest incarnations of Optimus Prime, to be honest here, just below the Alternity Optimus, which is the strongest version of Optimus out there. And in all honesty, this Optimus has done some impressive feats here. Number one is being able to consistently contend against Galvatron, who throughout the series as well was getting stronger. This Optimus was also able to be a Primus Amp Starscream, to which, and this is pretty much an update here, had 3/5 of Primus's power. Primus himself was even able, well, pretty much got handled by Galvatron, while Primus only had 1/5 of his power. However, that Primus still beat a Starscream who had a larger portion of his power. However, again, this is Starscream, even though that is one of the best versions of Starscream, because he actually got stuff done in the series here. And Optimus was able to beat this Starscream with nothing more than just pure, unadulterated speed. So, yeah, in all honesty, this Optimus is pretty powerful, being able to contend against this Galvatron, this same Galvatron who should be significantly above Megatron, who was clowning Vector Prime throughout the entirety of the seasons, of this entire series as well. So, the fact that he's clowning Vector Prime, meaning he would scale above the avatars of the 13 original Primes. This would include Vector Prime, the Fallen, Prima, Solus, Onyx, Leech Maximo, Adaptus, and Micronus pretty easily. Now, this is important because the Primes themselves are platonic concepts. Basically, they transcend dimensions by the virtue of their existence, which would actually put them at an outerversal level. Now, Optimus himself with Raceling was able to erase this Galvatron from existence. Keep in mind, he can use Raceling for whenever he's in danger. And with him scaling above Vector Prime is actually able to contain the damage of Unicron and is one of the few beings that can actually go toe-to-toe and being able to somewhat harm Unicron or beings that can threaten Unicron, like Mogon the Mass. With Mogon the Mass actually being such a threat that he was actually going to consume the Omniverse, or at least was building up to that. There are also beings like Hytherion who Vector Prime can actually handle as an avatar, but again, due to his role in the multiverse, he does need the alternatives to kind of keep him in check. There's also the fact that he was scaled above Omega Prime, an Optimus that was capable of fist fighting an avatar of Unicron. Now, I'm not going to get too heavily into the cosmology, but believe it or not, you can actually go watch either my Transformers cosmology video or my Unicron vs. Scarlet King video, where I do give a good summary on the deeper layers of the Transformers cosmology. For example, there are many infinite universes, right? And many higher dimensions that go with those universes. or I should say multiverses, because a universal cluster is the continuity that those transformers reside in, with those transformers basically being a part of an infinite an infinite quantum multiverse. All right, Transformers also operates on its own quantum mechanics, which dives into Hilbert space, which also deals with things with infinite dimensional spaces. So yeah, Optimus being able to fight against beings that are able to defeat beings that are able to destroy these infinite dimensional multiverses. Yeah, Transformers has a lot. There's a lot. And again, this is me giving a brief summary right now. So just to not, just to not make this video any longer than it is here. So again, this Optimus would easily be into those Outerversal levels. I would definitely say he's on par with the avatars of the primes. Very, very easily here. And again, we're using him when he's at his strongest, where he's at the end of the series, meaning he would scale above Savage Claw mode, and he would scale above Sonic Wing mode pretty easily here. And with Raceling, because again, I think that it would be pretty fair for him to have this, otherwise we would honestly be here all day, and I'm going to get into the reason why. So, with that being said here, with both of these guys easily having Outerversal levels, Drago being able to scale above creation level beings, or scaling above the creators of his various cosmology in general, including the concepts of darkness and light, and with Optimus being able to scale above platonic concepts, they would easily fit into this creation tier. Now, you might ask, what is creation tier? Basically, anyone that can create a multiverse, or basically beings that can create their own cosmology. Characters like Arceus, Primus, the One Above All, or the Presence, basically in those tiers. However, or what's his name? Asgarath from Dungeons and Dragons. However, scaling to those characters does have some context to it. For example, Primus, and obviously the One Above All and the Presence, obviously they don't, you don't really get a lot of scaling to from beings to those higher level beings here. Meanwhile, you do have beings like Genesis Dragonoid, Genesis Darachnoid, who are pretty much outclassed by Drago here, as Drago has been able to beat threats or beat beings that were able to contend with them in the past. So with that being said here, who wins? More often than not, I think I've rambled on long enough about these characters, right? Now, for the first part of this, we're going to take away Raceling. And I also like to thank you guys for voting as well here, I think. It was actually funny. They're like, bro, you joking? Unicron Trilogy? Optimus versus Drago? Like, come on now. But again, this is actually a pretty good fight. They actually match up pretty well here. And if we gave them everything, like I'm just, Cyber Planet Key, Sonic Wii mode, Savage Claw mode, Raceling on top of it, it would actually get pretty ugly in all honesty. Like the various amounts of abilities that both Drago and this version of Optimus have. Now again, I do think Drago would definitely be able to beat Optimus when it comes down to weaponry and stuff, as he has multiple battle gears, multiple I think it was like Baku Nano or Nanotech and stuff like that. And then there's also the Titans he can summon. Then there's Dragonoid Destroyer he can summon. I swear that series, Mectadium Surge, and just should never have been made, in all honesty. It got way too crazy. I think they definitely should have ended at Gundalian Invaders and, called it a day. But in all honesty, with that being said here, I would definitely have to say Optimus does win it more often than not. Now, the reason why I would say this, and I would definitely say it's an extreme difficulty, because again, Drago has a lot of attacks that can bypass durability and bypass the defenses of his opponents. Like, say if they swap fights, right? Drago would be able to basically smash through Galvatron's shields based on his hexes alone, not by pure brute strength. And Optimus being able to punch through that shield. Now, yes, he was Sonic Wing mode, but again, by the end of the series, he should be stronger than this, because the characters were progressing from point A to point B very fast. Like, you have moments where Leo Breaker himself wasn't able to take on Scourge in a one-on-one fight, to the point where by the time they reached a certain point, Leo Breaker could 1v1 Scourge to a better extent than what he did before. Even characters like Metroplex were able to combat and push away Galvatron when previously he got dogged by him badly. Like, I think we all remember when Galvatron caught Metroplex's axe, grabbed it, and threw it back at him as if it were a football. Like, come on now. I would feel some type of way if I got hit with my weapon like that. I'm just saying it. But, again, when it comes down to it, coming down to the beings they scale to, and the amount of, in all honesty, raw power that's going to get thrown around here, I think if I didn't give Optimus Racing, they will go back and forth, and I definitely think either one could have won here, and then the other opponent would have just collapsed from his wounds. Because I think there's a lot of ways that this fight could go here. I think Optimus has the advantage when it comes to raw power, but Drago has the advantage when it comes to hexes, as he has a lot of attacks that can simply just bypass and move through a lot of Optimus's defenses and his durability. And again, Drago does have a pretty great regeneration, being able to regenerate from his very soul here. But at the end of the day, I do think Optimus would be able to claim that victory. And with Raceling, I definitely think it would bypass Drago's durability and his regeneration just to eradicate him from existence. However, Optimus is definitely going to be in the repair bay for months. But that's going to be all for today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.